Welcome to day 2 of the 2011 Silkway Rally. Now, yesterday was uncharacteristically dramatic for some of the leading runners, and poor old Hans Stacey got a rude welcome back to Dakar competition. An overheating rear axle caused a huge puncture and a small fire, dropping the new De Roy driver over an hour down over his competitors. The 2007 Dakar winner has not been in the hot seat for a few years, but was working hard changing those huge truck tyres on his Iveco. For Joseph Kabbalah, the problem was even wilder.
You lose the batteries. You hit the tree and... The batteries are somewhere else.
The Subtits Liaz driver sadly never did find his batteries, and therefore maxed out at the end of the stage. Sadly, phoning home for a tow was the only option. One of the strangest cars of the rally is the Lada Nivea of Kurban Berdi Danatarov, but the car cannot be blamed for this mishap, a trip into the lake. The ever-enthusiastic crowd soon had the cheapest car on the rally back out on the stage, but the poor thing struggled all day. The main story of the day was mud. Every car returned so covered in black stuff it was sometimes hard to tell what they were. Even the huge rainstorm that turned the press room into a swamp wasn't enough to clean the cars, and the power washers whined late on into the night. Cars clean, the mud soon covered the mechanics. And so to the day's stage, and a very varied stage indeed for all the competitors. There's been no easing into the Silkway Rally as day 2 represents the longest leg of the rally. The 483-kilometre special is a mix between twisty tracks and sandy blast, eventually bringing the competitors to Volgograd. After the many issues that meant Stefan Pederhansel had to coast to the finish yesterday, he was back on form in the Mini. Despite traffic in the early part of the stage, he held a 3-minute lead over the first hour, and that advantage just grew and grew, and he nearly caught his teammate by the end. That was despite contact when passing Khabarov's truck at the end of CP2. It was close but fraught stuff. I didn't expect such a complicated race, really, in terms of navigation and of danger. There were these small valleys, and then when you climbed onto the top of them, there was lots of grass, and that was hiding all the danger, really. This doesn't really happen on Rally Raid, but I guess it's quite fun. The 14-minute difference between Pederhansel and Holovitz might have been disappointing for the pole, but with none of the day 1 rivals anywhere near him, it meant the BMW driver could drive at 90%, crucial in Rally Raid survival. He takes a commanding lead of the rally overall, despite leading most of this stage. He'll look forward to sitting behind the Mini in tomorrow's run to Astrakhan. The later part of the stage would be a decisive one, as the experience of sand driving became invaluable. And with 8 Dakars behind him, Lavillée certainly has the experience. The new Ornot body may not, and it might not like the Russian countryside either, but come the dunes, he was flying. His Nissan de Sudra prototype has been taken over by Chineseman Yihong Zhu, 31st yesterday, and struggling in the sand. Alex Zelduov shot to fame with victory in the opening stage yesterday, but started first this morning, and that was tricky. It was made worse when the car was particularly unhappy, which cost the Russian just under an hour. His fight back was good enough to match the pace of the leading contenders, despite despite this small navigational error. He ended up 6th. What an epic effort. We wasted so much time because we had to fix the alternator. That's why we have a bad result, I think, today. But I guess the rally continues, and we'll fight for victory until the very end. It's been a disaster for Matheus Karla so far. The multiple German rally champion broke a cam belt in the opening day, finishing way down the order. But this move was particularly silly. And got stuck on the run out of the river. He decided to reverse back in and got stuck for a second time. Eventually, getting the crowd to drag him out. He lost far too much time when he should be fighting for victory. So the stage, Peder Hansel wins by 14 minutes over Holovitz, Lavie third, Mironenko in another BMW in fourth spot, and Zeludov rounds out the top 5. Overall, Holovitz now 53 ahead of Lavie, but look, Peder Hansel already back into the top 5, an hour and 15 down. Alex Lopez, nephew of the famous Carol Lopez, aboard his Tatra 815. 4th in the Silkway of 2010, one better year before, and 2 stage victories on the Dakar in 2011. But the new truck has now been put to pasture and been replaced by the racing special Tatra Yamal.
The new truck has a little small disease, like the first baby was born, but it's a standard situation, but mostly there is a positive feeling from it. The truck is a little bit difficult to drive in the top speed, but in the technical parts and so on, it's really nice to drive and it's much more comfortable. And I feel much more safety in this truck behind the snow. So from that point of view, I found it as a better solution.
It's clear by the onboard that the ride is miles better, but the hooded machine has better weight distribution as well as a brand new turbocharging system. This is not an evolution, this is a revolution.
We will see, we produce most components in our garage with cooperation with Tatra, and we hope so that this truck will be successful for the future.
The new team hopes to be able to field the 2 older 815 trucks for rent on the Dakar, allowing Tatra a grand assault in Argentina next January. But for now, the message is simple. The press is flat out. First on the stage, it wasn't long before the winner of the 2010 Silkway was showing signs that all was not well in the truck section. The Kamaz machine, normally flying, seemed not as sprightly as it should, and then, sadly, it stopped. And it looks like game over for the 300 truck, also ruining Mardev's race as he stopped to help. At that point, the lead of the race was being held by the fired-up Racy Stacey. After the desperate problems yesterday, he was pushing hard over the fastest sections of the stage. And really driving the truck to hit its limits. Still getting used to being back behind the wheel of a new mark in the Iveco. But in the sand, he lost his advantage to Khabarov, and over CP4, they were totally equal with 1 hour to run. Who would then prevail and take stage victory? Third on the day 1 was by far best for Ars Victus since beginning his career on the Silkway 2 years ago, and it could have been called a flash in the pan. Most of the day, he was again third until the final desert section. Started to tow people out, being stuck in the way, and eventually himself got stuck. Fourth yesterday was Andrei Karjanov, the Kamaz driver, improved to third, which will move him to second overall now in the Kamaz. Navigational errors are the cause of lost time for Lopez on day 1 and also on day 2. Tati truck seems to be running faultlessly, but gradually over the stage he was not able to match the fast pace of the leaders and finally finished just under half an hour down. This was the Camel's taste. First sand. So much will be done now to improve the truck over the coming days to make it better in the terrain and it will dominate the rest of this rally. Best of the man drivers was Nico Verfluss. The teammate of Franz Eckermann was having much less hassle with Nico run machine. With his demise of Bart Victus, he was able to grab the top 5 spot of the day. Yet more problems just outside. There is an internal power struggle between the Russian KAMAZ drivers, each of them wanting to become the new Tsar, the leader of the team, replacing Vladimir Chagin, who's finally hung up his helmet. It was advantage Nikolaev yesterday, but with his problems, Fyodor Khabarov had to push very, very hard. He was so frustrated to be beaten by young Nikolov on day one. From the outset, he was the fastest, matching Hans Stacey's pace. In the sand, he had problems, but his KAMAZ was faster at getting out of them, and eventually he took the victory. 4 minutes was the gap between him and Stacey eventually. Karganov in third, Lopez fourth, and Verfluss rounds out the top 5. Overall, it gives Khabarov a 35-minute lead over Karganov. Lopez best of the rest in third spot, and Stacey in the Iveco. Verfluss in the man round out the top 5. An hour separates the 5. So to Volgograd, famous for its resistance in World War II. It's the welcome home for the Silkway Rally today, as we look forward to following the Volga River to Astrakhan tomorrow. We'll see you there.